It's Monday. It's February 7th, 2022. I'm watching, or I was sitting with Linda last night after the boys left, and this this television show, 60 Minutes, came on. Now, let me just reference the conversation for if I have a rock of whatever that matches paper, but I have a rock that has a K, so it's a 2 at the ISS scissors, whatever, for one conversation. There is a teleportation unit looking like this that comes in to New York, and I'm in North America, but the voices seem to be all calling themselves American. I do not know how this is. The area on the map says United States of America on some maps, not all. The continent, North America. So I am confused when everybody puts America last after some other claim to somewhere else, and then wants a voice in psychologically damaging the children that were born here that match the profile of the rock and the paper that were designed for one purpose, but in my situation, they left me pretty much in isolation, desolation, quarantine-like situation in a box. I retreat to the box for safety, but I know at Rock Foundation, it may look like a penalty of some sort, like I did something, which I didn't. So it gets really confusing when teleportation uses this all-American voicing to further agenda of non-American campaign inside, trying to confuse what's living interior and trying to decipher who the messenger was, what the messenger might be representing, or in some divine comedy. I hate to even give them that level of respect in theatrics, because I don't find it divine at all. I find them insidious and disgusting. I hate watching them. Yesterday, and then trying to pick through the information of what's REEL or REAL, and the dance between who's really in charge. How did we get a home invasion and break-in where somebody sat at the controls for 8 years and had 8 years worth of night and day cycles to possibly redirect and expedite the next phase and the next set of events in a more dangerous? It's apocalyptic by the sounds of putting a non-familial member inside a family member's house and then allowing them to just sit there. Where is the investigations over what was done? And now to have a repeat offensive break-in. I mean, we live in a country and territory where there is a rock of solidarity called Mount Rushmore that has facial profile that matches the system of money, the currency that backs our national security within this corridor and within this territory. If it is under attack at any time, by someone else showing up for work at any of the safety stations, White House being one of them, how on earth was that allowed to go on for 8 years? And like, as if in the teleportation message to what's living here, they made it seem like it was a celebratory type of event. Hello? Now, I just heard last night, 60 Minutes aired in New York, a message about somewhere in Canada, they through the 50s, 60s, and whatever. I guess that's where the French and Indian War was, although it was the Indian War with I don't know who. I mean, it wasn't, I mean, like, I like the language of French, I don't know, but again, it's, then they settled for billions of dollars. Now that's scary, and shifts of power and redirecting campaign by getting such a lump sum that now all of a sudden you become like a mini force to be reckoned with in some some surge of power that the rest of the population doesn't know, because how do you know what Canada's court system, how they're defining, how they're regulating, how they're distributing massive lump sum settlements that changes and could put other neighboring units or states, let's just say the lower 48, in jeopardy by not alerting those children. So now, all of a sudden, the communication in New York, when it went all American, where everybody thinks they are American and that they can speak American, but meanwhile they're really speaking on behalf of dangerous elsewhere, but trying to, under the guise of safety and protected, just call themselves American. I mean, where is the protection here? I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a lot of fake messages, but a lot of other people's agenda, and a lot of really dangerous stuff going on. I see employment in the rock, paper, scissors Northern Territory completely being embedded and infested with very educated, highly qualified candidates, but that don't match the territory's national security standards. And this was precedent into this dangerous break-in to this thing called a White House, which has expectations based on founding father and family members. I am just confused where we lost the patriotism and the ability to defend one's own territory. It's like someone was playing a sick game of capture the flag, and I don't know which flag they ran up the flagpole while everybody else was busy trying to figure out how this could possibly be accomplished. There's so many areas that have been under attack and under siege. I don't understand why they haven't been quelled proceeding in. And why these giant cash settlements have been allowed to redistribute power and private group in some quiet societal seething war based on stuff that other people didn't even know happened. I mean, I did not know about what was happening up in Canada while I was being held in a room in New York for the last, however many decades leading in. Actually, that would be 1 decade as it was going on. through when it was going on. And then all of a sudden, I have to think about this. So that was going on up there, but then 60 Minutes said it was happening since the 50s and 60s. Now that's a really long time. And then that's a lot of really, like, angry people. And then it is just, and everybody's not at just Railway anymore for getting, they showed something about Peggy Lee and Snap, for Snap Judgment. I mean, it's a really frightening world when I sit here and I watch that. Then this morning they showed something about, in a different part of Canada, after that televised piece last night aired, there is some form of Canadian movement, but not movement, I wouldn't say movement because I don't know if it's been successful in whatever it was trying to accomplish. They're not really clear in New York about why these people in Canada are gathering. They're just waving their flag, or what we've been taught was their flag. But again, I mean, it's like the stuff that comes through this teleportation device. Now that it's all these different faces of non-American, honestly, but that are calling themselves all like American, all sorts of American. Their claims are all sort. They keep claiming American, but all sorts of American, because it's not strictly purely American, North American. It's where it's being pointed and distributed at and directed at, it's coming from all non-American elsewhere, trying to use an American filter in order to get their persuasive point across. It's like it is such a volatile system. I mean, it is just like, and then the message gets sometimes really misconstrued. I mean, let's put it this way, between the family members, I can't tell where the old world, black and white, checkered past message and distribution, how to clear and cleanly communicate to one another, when there's so many other messages, but through filters that have been created that no longer match any form of unity whatsoever. It's like there used to be big boulders and you could say, okay, it's that was what that is what's to blame for whatever. Let's go speak to or fix that particular boulder. Now it's like so many people have grabbed chisels. It's like one gigantic beach of sand, and now it's like the grains are all like moving around, like, but they don't know what to do because there's no more boulder left because everybody chiseled it away down to nothing. It's so frustrating. What still stands, though, is there's a rock, there's monumentous paper, there's unity in both of those symbols from the territory to reestablish and let's put reestablish, and let's not, and we'll worry about settlement on whatever, because I think they're getting settlements first and then they're refusing to participate in the manner that their settlement agreements were originally drawn as, based on the fact that in the last 7 decades, it's deteriorated worse in where I am specifically, but in the last 4 decades for sure, and over the last 2 decades, it's become increasingly like as if somebody expedited some breakdown for reasons I can't explain. It's like I say there's like it's like having this strong cologne and then the turnover to the eau de toilette, which is toilet water, really. Like that's what it's diluted down to in messaging or in being a clear message. So this way there could be clear building of the correct structure. And functioning at toilet water level of such diluted content is very difficult to get clear communication across because people jump to the wrong conclusions and then put other people in danger and harm's way, whether they mean to or not. That's unclear. Um, um, I'm going to pause this for 1 second, try to recollect my thoughts. Oh, and then that goes back to if it's a geography explanation between Cologne and then over diluted to eau de toilette, then there's a germination, germ of many in time dilation, where the long and the short term calendar start to turn, and that camaraderie of io mi io all of a sudden becomes just, I don't know, it's like the gears just, someone took the gears of safety, reliability, loyalty, and nobility apart during the gears of war, and they're just not fitting right to get back to where sense of normalcy at least, or sense of regulatory, it like fits and makes sense. I mean, in New York, the school system in the city, like where I am, with the last one, I mean, it's pathetic. It's there is no school. I mean, he goes to a building, but he's not earning anything for his future. I mean, they're not offering him any words or pearls of wisdom that he'll be able to even have a basis to perform at a level that he's going to need based on what they're currently asking for. I mean, they don't even offer athletics to him. There's been no tryouts, there's been no even looking to see if he moves in an athletic manner. Same thing with my other 3 kids. Same thing with myself. When I was in school, I mean, I did have the one swim team, but I mean, that was at 7th grade. That was like right before teens. They waited. I heard on something to do with the USA and the Olympics, which I don't know if that's the athletic league. Now, athletic, PE, and physical education, but PE being germ of many, gets a little confusing, while the rock, the paper, and the ISS scissors are so dangerously absent and off kilter based on what is being performed in action and motion, because I don't know if they're updating the real management elsewhere at ISS level as to just how dysfunctional things have become. I don't know how honest people are, especially now that they're all in these mixed clusters and they try to cover over for one another so they don't get themselves in trouble. It gets, like, I don't know how anybody could be honest, really. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxies, Broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And that's what the weather looks like outside today. There's a building, and then there's a whole lot of light. And today, for some reason, I got this going on. So I've got a listening whatever. I have no idea who's on the other end of that. It's February 7th. Yeah, it's Monday, February 7th, 2022.